Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam. Good morning. You're listening to Java with Jimmy.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Okay, let me get things together here. Cross hands. Good morning, everybody. Today is Tuesday, April 25th, 2023, and welcome to the Java Cafe. Weather looks to be pretty decent. Let's see what's going on outside this morning. It's Testimony Tuesday. You're stuck just with me this morning. It is currently 49 degrees, and the high today around 2 p.m. will be 59. So good to see you guys in the room. 61 on Friday. So we got some pretty decent spring weather. It's supposed to rain a little bit later. So this weather with the rain and whatnot, I'm still kind of like, I could hibernate. I don't know if it's spillover from Boston Wild Black last weekend. Did I do anything this weekend? I don't really remember. But listen, today we're going to have a conversation about accountability. We're going to see how Webster defines it, and we're going to talk about our responsibility when it comes to accountability. But let's go in the Java Cafe and see who is in this morning. All right, that sounds a little bit okay. I just had to get some things together here on the tech side. Who is in this morning? Miss T, good morning, Miss T. I'm sitting here looking at stuff right now on the other screen. I know. Thank you for your patience. Thank you. Love you. Thank you. Opal, good morning. Good to see you in the room this morning. Sister Debbie, good morning to you. Good to see you in the room. Good morning also to Pastor Marion. Good to see you in the room this morning. Nicole, good to see you. How are you doing? Hope everything is well with you and yours. Mama Java, good morning to you. Good to see you in the room this morning. Rena said, good morning. Java family, been a little busy. Miss my family. We miss you too, Rena. Good to see you in the room. Flavio, what's up, brother? Hey, Flavio, the team got they sent the email. Hopefully it's the right email, but get back to me about what we talked about, because I'm definitely down to get that done. So hit the email and get it back and we'll be good. Tay, good morning. Good to see you in the room this morning as well. Sharon Cornelius. Why do I feel like I haven't said that in a long time? Let's give Sharon some love this morning. Good to see you in the room this morning, Sharon. Hope to see you on the 16th. We get ready for our rehearsal. Also, guys, keep in mind that there is the Embrace Festival that's taking place on June 14th, I think through the 17th. And there is the first Juneteenth concert in which the Voices of Embrace that you all got to see during the Embrace unveiling will be singing on on that inaugural Juneteenth concert. So keep that in mind. There's also a lot going on around Juneteenth. I won't say this is the first real year, but last couple of years, now it's a national holiday. And so there's a lot planned that I'm hearing that's going on. Rochelle, good morning. Good to see you in the room. And you know why I'm smiling and saying good morning to you like that. Love you. Good to see you in the room. Be encouraged, sis. Kelly, good morning to you. Good to see you in the room this morning. Kelly, I don't know what you're doing, but I saw your stats that you posted yesterday. So Kelly's up to something, y'all. Go follow her, see what she got going on her page. She had thousands of hits and impressions. Kelly, good to see you in the room. My baby sister is in the room. Good morning, Misha. Good to see you in the room. Please keep her. In reference to my mom asking for prayer, I believe it was on yesterday for the Fur family. Keep my sister, who was touched by that death that we mentioned yesterday as well. Keep her in prayer. And so let's get into this conversation about accountability. And y'all know I do stuff in real time. So let's go to Webster's. and see what Webster's has to say for accountability. The fact or condition of being accountable. All right, let's go see what Webster says for accountable. I'm going somewhere with this, you all. Accountable of a person, organization, or institution required or expected to justify actions or decisions responsible. Example, parents could be held accountable for their children's actions. So that is Webster's definition of accountability. Do me a favor in the comments, put one word for accountability, or if you want to put a few extra words, how do you define accountability? We're going to answer a few questions this morning. I'm going somewhere with this. Often, and I'll give some context, and y'all know I've been known to attempt to hold electeds, perceived powers that be accountable. Throughout the years, I have fussed, cussed, but one thing I will toot a little bit is that maybe in the beginning, I would, and to think about it going way back, I never fussed without suggestions and saying, hey, have we tried this? Have we looked at this? This is what I'm hearing from the community. And so I've been known to attempt to hold people and entities accountable, and especially, yes, municipal, state, elected officials. That I can't get away from that. That is something that is a part of who I am. However, in evolving, how I hold accountable has changed throughout the years. Does this what is it? The squeaky wheel get the oil? Sometimes, but let me give you this analogy. The squeaky wheel may get just enough oil to stop squeaking. Does that squeaky wheel need to be replaced? Does whatever the wheel is running need to be shut down, recalibrated? So the squeaky wheel, aka making noise, fussing and cussing, and listen, let me keep it 100. There is always necessity for bringing attention to the issue, being passionate about it, and marching in some cases, depending on what the issue is, protesting and things like that. But as we often talked about in 2020, after the noise, when the dust settles, how have we progressed? What is, and I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, what is our responsibility when it comes to accountability? Is it a two-way street? What does it look like? Let me go back into the comments and see what people put for their word. And if you're just joining, we're talking about accountability this morning. Pastor Marion said accountability is necessary. Go a little bit deeper, Pastor Marion. Rochelle said itself. Tapped in. Donna Williams-Bowen, good to see you in the room this morning. Ownership of situation. Donna, can we say and our part? Miss T said it's honesty. Some parents don't like to take accountability for their children's actions towards their That's a whole nother Zoom, Nicole. Sharon Cornelius, the squeaky wheel needs oil. She ain't talking about WD-40. The squeaky wheel gets the oil, but I just thought about that this morning, and what I envision is the squeaky wheel squeaking and making the noise, and the powers that be come with their, what's that canister that the Tin Man had, or Dorothy had, to keep the Tin Man oiled? They come and put 2 drops on the squeaky wheel and keep it moving on to the next squeaky wheel. And then it's cyclical, because the squeaky wheel is quiet until that oil, and I'm going to say something that might get me in trouble. In the past, hopefully not present, oil could be green, It could be in the form of a check. It could be access. And so, and to keep it 100, I've employed the squeaky wheel model. In my evolving, some have said, well, you're getting oiled. I'm not even going to go there. Let me stay focused. So Rochelle said that accountability is a two-way street. Perfectly agree. Absolutely agree. And we're going to go there in a few minutes. Nicole said, slide some oil to me. Let it lubricate my mind 10 minutes. Nicole, I'm not messing with you this morning. So some of the questions I wanted to answer or get your feedback around this thing of accountability. Here's some questions I'd like us to answer. And we're in a workshop session for Testimony Tuesday around accountability. We looked at what it was, how Webster defines it. We saw words like honesty, necessary, two-way street, of an entity, and oneself. Two-way street, let's stay there for a minute. How does it work? How does accountability work? Is it just one way? We're holding you accountable. And then what does that look like? Are there metrics? Shout out to Commissioner Kurt Faustin, who's part of the Black Men and Boys Commission, who often says that what are the metrics in which we measure impact, effectiveness when it comes to accountability? In that vein, I'm talking programs, human services, municipalities, things like that. Let's talk a little bit first about self. How does it work? How do we hold ourselves accountable? How do we hold each other accountable in love? How y'all do it? I have some ways that I check in with folks, and with those that I have relationship and they have named, hey, hold me accountable, or they've mentioned to me in conversation, hey, I'm thinking about doing this, I'm thinking about doing that. Every once in a while, I'll check in and say, how's such and such going? How do y'all practice accountability? Let's go back to the comments. Nicole, I put that one back up by mistake. Without the necessity of accountability, things get out of control. Got you. Pastor Marion, but how do we do it? What does accountability look like? I guess right now we're talking self. So the necessity of accountability, things get out of control. How do we keep ourselves in control when it comes to accountability? It's expected and given. So we're back at that two-way street, that it's expected and given. Again, how do we do it? All right. I'm glad y'all asked me. First of all, it takes, and I used to say this in 20, I think I started saying it in 19 or 20. The 3 C's: communication, coordination, and collaboration. Well, Jimmy, what do you mean? I'm not going to collaborate with someone I'm holding accountable. Listen, accountability doesn't always mean hostility. You could have accountability in love. I said a month ago today, Mayor came to the anniversary and I was talking, and literally it hit me while I was up there. Mayor, you have taught me, and I paused because it hit me, accountability in love. We're talking about accountability. Let's have a transparent moment. Some in the community have held me accountable for the way in which now I hold or move after evolving from all the fussing and cussing in holding accountable. I'm not going to get too much deep into that. But as I started this little piece, accountability does not always mean hostility. You can have you hold your children accountable, don't you? I'm hoping you're doing it in love and not hostile toward them. Again, let me try to stay focused and so oneself. If we can't hold ourselves accountable, hi, y'all don't see it, but the biggest thing on this screen right now is my face, me talking to myself. If we don't hold ourselves accountable, it may become interesting trying to hold our circle, our community, and then perceived powers that be that are accountable. Because getting back to responsibility, I put a post up and it says exactly, I'll show y'all for y'all that didn't see it. And shout out to everybody that was a little surprised by the first few words there. In my 51, yes, 51, thank Jesus, I made it to 51 as a black man in the hood. In my 51 years on this earth, I'm learning accountability is a two-way street. You, as well as the entity or individual or individuals you're holding accountable, have a responsibility to measure up. Rochelle agrees. Do other people agree? Is it a two-way street? And if it's a two-way street, let me turn this down so y'all can hear me. Right, wrong, or indifferent, meaning if you feel that it's right, if you feel that it's wrong, or you don't have an opinion about it, it's hard to hold people accountable through just hostility. Is there some righteous hostility and righteous indignation we need to have around systems and structures that were formed by white supremacists to keep black people and non-white men at bay? Yes, balance. That's a whole nother thing that I've been in the last couple of days. And so we're human. I'll use myself as an example. Hitting me up via text and saying, hey, Jimmy, first of all, outside of the municipal, macro, large scale accountability, it's hard to hold individuals accountable if you don't have relationship with them. You can't just out the blue be like, yeah. Now I'm talking more intimate accountability. Bringing it back to self. If you don't got a good relationship and know thyself and to thyself be true, you can't hold yourself accountable. Be real with yourself about, okay, let me get back and stay focused. My point is, when I talk about hostility, and accountability doesn't always have to be hostility, you got to have relationship. And whether we agree with it, whether it's right, whether they're an elected official, which is still human. If you come at me being hostile, I might be a little less inclined to listen. The squeaky wheel gets the oil, but at a frequency and at yelling, are you communicating? I said accountability on that macro level involves the 3 C's: communication, coordination, and collaboration. How you communicate with those that you are trying to hold accountable is important. All right, let's go to the next question, because it's 9:22 and oh, I thought I saw something different. I was going to say it just got hot on Facebook. All right. Second question was, is it one-sided? I think we've answered that it's not one-sided. It's a two-way street. When we're talking about dual accountability, we're moving now into corporate perceived powers that be. What is this self-accountability? But when it comes to holding perceived powers that be, entities, municipalities, corporations, what is our responsibility when it comes to accountability? If we're saying we want equity, we want more information, we want the details, We want inclusion. That's the demand, sometimes through protests, sometimes through email, sometimes through just showing up and being present. That last part. When, which is still somewhat limited, let's keep it 100. When there are opportunities, initiatives, and activities that are presented after we fought and advocated, what is our responsibility to stay engaged? Example, 51 years in this city. I'll say from about maybe 18, 19 on. Wasn't really on my radar. I was aware of it. It happens every year. There's a marathon that goes on in this city. Copley Place, all down there by Back Bay changes. This year, I just happened to be in the area with some intentionality to be lodged in the area up until Saturday. I took the initiative to leave the hotel room, go downstairs, and walk around Copley. Did it look like a foreign place? A little bit. It's a big activity. And I had saw Jack from the BAA on Saturday at the Black Unicorns event just that morning, being down in Copley. And I said, sir, for 51 years, this is, or after being in the city for 51 years, this was my first time down at the festivities. Is there some work to do in this city around more inclusion and demonstrated aggressive commitment to diversifying any and everything that goes on in the city? Yes. But when there is progress, we got to still stay present and show up. And when we talk about responsibility, I'm trying not to get in trouble. Here's an example. We don't like when law enforcement, well, we don't like to, generally speaking, we don't like to be in situations where we have to deal with law enforcement, generally speaking. I do my best not to put myself in situations that I have to deal with law enforcement. Example, some years ago, mid 2000s, had a car, had a license expired, car was not registered or insured. Guess who wanted to make sure they had clean clothes for church on Sunday? Got up that morning, made a decision, and rolled my happy self to the cleaners in the car that was not registered, that was not insured, with an expired license. Got to the cleaners, made it about 3/4 of 75% of the way back home. Guess who gets pulled over? Me. Now, thank God it was the drug unit, and all they were worried about, they saw, the car and didn't, well, whatever. And they said, okay, we're going to let you go with a warning this time, but don't drive the car no more. Now, I made a decision and had to, if anything else happened, if they towed the car, I don't know if you can get, well, obviously they don't have to arrest you. If I got arrested, I made a decision. And we want to hold law enforcement accountable. Now, let's put balance here. Were they just sitting there and because I'm a black male, and could I have been targeted, and do some police officers target? There's a lot in the media right now about some interactions with law enforcement. So we don't initiate, we got enough going on with targeting where it would behoove us to not put ourselves in situations where we have to deal in law enforcement, or put ourselves in situations where may not be the best outcome. And if we're doing it for the purpose of agitation and bringing attention, what's your end game? Is it to change policy? Is it to, all right, it's 9:29. Let's go to the, Dina's in the room. Okay, let me back up here. Teresa, if all parties are not honest about the situations and the party they played in those situations, it's only putting a Band-Aid on the wound. 2 drops of oil, you're quiet until the oil runs out. Pastor Marion, love doesn't mean agree with everything. It's the love you show during the disagreement. Little personal note here. In folks, attempting to hold me accountable, that fact is what I have matured and grown into to still love. And we know it's a foundational thing in the Java Cafe. Sometimes we got to practice tough love and love from a distance. But there's still the ability to hold accountable in love. I'm going to talk about an example in a few minutes that you all saw right here. Also being transparent, as Pastor Marion said. Here's Dina. Great conversation. No one wants to be held accountable. Everyone thinks what they are doing and saying is right. All of us, most of us in the helping field operate out of that. Some of us have learned to be intentional. Check in with folks that are in the space of violence prevention and whatnot. I ain't out there. Do I have a list of folks that I check in with? Absolutely. Because we have to own that often we may not want to be held accountable while we're holding accountable because of pride. That's another Zoom in itself. Mama Java, mom of a 6-year-old who shot teacher, is accountable for what he did and for leaving the gun around. Accountability. There was a responsibility to put the gun away. That child is not of age. Now, at 6 years old, one would generally think that somewhere in their rearing, watching TV, cartoons, somewhere along the line, there was a conversation about, and we got to keep in mind, I believe this was in the South. Dr. Brandy talked yesterday about a regionally cultural difference when it comes to guns. So I'm not going to go too deep into that. But to Mama Java's point, the parent was held accountable for what we know of not being responsible. Oh boy, Kelly went in. All right, here we go. I love this conversation. This is very educating, if that makes sense. We need more conversations like this, and we as adults need to be accountable before we can hold anyone else accountable, if that makes sense. It absolutely does. I am always on top of my son, but also remind him I'm doing this out of love, even when I have to be hard on him, punish him, or take things away, because I have to get him prepared for the world out there when he gets older, because my actions towards him will be very different than what I believe she would say that what might happen. So you got it. Shout out to the single mother that's raising a man, teaching him about accountability. Rochelle, this is a tricky slope. What's the real whole story? And that's the thing. Grandma was it grandma? No, but there's a saying. There's 3 sides to every story. What are the sides, y'all? I'm not even going to say them. There's 3 sides to every story. Miss T, again, all parties have to be honest about the situations at hand and the part they play in those situations. We also have to be ready to hear the truth about ourselves in order to process and make constructive changes. Like Jimmy, stop being so slow with getting me those logos. That's cute, Miss T. No, I'm messing. I'm really messing. Pastor Marion, if we take down our defense shields when being held accountable, we might learn something valuable about ourselves and will grow us up. We got to be willing to remove now. like I said a few minutes ago, and when I was talking about hostile accountability, I was morely talking to macro municipalities, entities, protesting and stuff. Yes, that is also personal, but let me just clearly state it. You can't, to Pastor Marion's point, and I said a few minutes ago that wall sometimes is pride. Do you all think I got to this point where I don't fuss and cuss anymore? Well, I still do, but I don't do it publicly. I do it in my home. I process through what I sometimes I write the text and the status I want to write, get it out my system, and delete it. If we aren't willing to remove, as Pastor Marion said, the walls of our pride. Now, let me deviate for a second. As I was getting ready to say a few minutes ago, discern people's motives when they come to you holding you accountable. If it's for improvement, if it's what we used to call constructive criticism, yes. Protect your peace in your space and don't allow the over negative impartation about whatever individual may be wanting to hold you accountable about. And let me just put this out there a little bit. There was an old song back in the day. Sweep around your own front door before you try to sweep around mine. This thing is good to me today. I just got tired, so that means we're doing well. Dina said, all of us. Sharon, hold accountable, be accountable. Auntie Maria, good morning, nephew. Auntie, love you. Great seeing you shine. Thank you, Auntie. Appreciate you. That's a tricky slope. We sometimes look at the transgression against us and fail to look at the opportunities that we miss before. And this is the thing. When we start talking about equity and measuring up and doing better, take it back to the old thing. If I'm pointing at you, how many fingers are pointing back at me? 3. So, and if we're going to hold accountable and a door is opened through that accountability, are we going to walk through the door? And what is it that we want to walk out that door with? If those things aren't clearly defined, articulated, with the heart of getting toward resolution, I'll say that I was perceived by some in the past as just a rabble rouser. Perceived, because none of these folks can say that I didn't come with suggestions after fussing. And so if we don't seize those opportunities to walk through the door of accountability and have a clear, defined list of demands, ways to work together, programs, ideas, then what are we going in there for? What are we trying to get that door wedged open for? For what? To keep it. All right, I'm just talking about fussing, and here I go was getting ready to fuss. Miss Teresa, we also have to be ready to hear the truth about ourselves in order to be able to make the necessary changes about ourselves to be better humans. Yours, mine, and the truth. Here we go. 3 sides to every story. My side, your side, and the truth. Yours, mine, and then Ma. Yours, mine, and the truth, not theirs. That mine, well, yours, mine, and theirs. Okay. My side, your side, truth. Absolutely. Deborah, good morning. Good to see you. And hey, good to see you in the room this morning. If the pictures are kind of small, if I think I know who that is, but if not, good to see you in. Logos, accountability, nagging out of love. I am not messing with you, Teresa. I was going to say Teresa Brown. Sharon Cornelia said, yes, stop getting easily so offended. Absolutely. And also, you got to keep in mind, as Auntie Maria said, children reflect off of what we as adults do in the mirror of their eyes. We also have to be true to who we are and be accountable for our own actions and not deflect our behavior onto other people because we're not representing who we are as an individual. do better, act better. The way in which, as I said before, you try to hold people accountable makes a huge difference. If you're at and always, you put up a door and ain't nobody going to listen. Again, right, wrong, or indifferent. It is a part of being a human. So that is what, as it's not, a little bit, I made it. It's 9:39. It is, and as I said a few minutes ago, you got to be responsible to discern motive, give some consideration into how, with also, as Pastor Marion said, be willing to open. And if you've done that and you discern that something's off, shut it down. Plain and simple. So that is our TED Talk, Java Talk for today. Want to keep a couple of things in mind and before you. One is on May 20th, just about a month away. Today's the 25th. Ooh, it's coming up. Saturday, May 20th, Thelma Burns Building, 575 Warren Street, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. We are going to have the Your Healthy Java second annual health fair. Last year was definitely a good time. I'm going to put that video up so y'all can see. It rained, and you know how we are when it rains, but don't forget to come out. Prizes, refreshments. You'll be able to ask professionals, and you'll be able to ask professionals health and cancer related questions. The MGH van will be there. The health fair will also feature a panel around health equity, and we are going to have some food, some giveaways, some snacks, and stuff like that. So keep that in mind. Also, June 21st. Again, I got to get Teresa. You talk about logos and flyers. June 21st is Java with Jimmy on the waterfront. Let's see if I can just bring that up here. Just for, well, you all know, June 21st at 3:30 p.m. You'll be able to bring your young people up until about 5:36. There is a panel. Young people, well, we'll get you more details as they develop. All right, that is it for me, folks. Thank you all for tuning in today. I appreciate you. And we will see tomorrow. I did have a guest scheduled, but unfortunately, I just saw an email that they may have to reschedule. So you might be stuck with me tomorrow as well. But we'll check in. And I think that is pretty much it. All right. We'll see you guys tomorrow at 9. Oh, hold on. Children. Okay. That was Auntie Maria's. Pastor Marion, because we are forever learning, we be better prepared to be called out. And that's the thing that one of the things my grandfather instilled in us. Keep your nose, what did he say? Keep your nose clean. Be a forever, it wasn't his exact words, but what was it? I have an old video somewhere. Because I've said it verbatim at his service to share with my nieces and nephews. Keep your nose clean. Always be open to learning. I forgot what I need to go back and watch those videos because those are some nuggets there. All right. I will see you guys tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. for We Need to Know Wednesdays. Y'all have a great day, and we'll see you then. All right. Peace out.